Greetings RC friends, welcome to Props and Wheels. Here I have my XK A160-J3 Skylark, which is a mini Piper Cub, and I had reviewed this model before on my channel and I had only good experience with it. It was a fantastic park flyer, but I've been also seeing a lot of videos talking about tip stalls, and I recently received a question on our channel asking if I had any issues with it, and I haven't, because the person was thinking of buying it, but he has seen a lot of videos talking about those tip stalls. So I wanted to investigate a little deeper, and I found, which I consider a serious issue with the rudder. So I'm going to try to demonstrate it and see if there will be any workarounds to fix that issue. So the issue is only happening when the stabilization has been activated. At least that's my experience with that issue. And first I thought maybe it is due to the transmitter. Maybe it is something to do with the gimbals not being very accurate, because this is basically a toy grade transmitter. So I bound this to my TX16S from Radiomaster. This is an open TX transmitter. It's a wonderful transmitter. It has Hall effect gimbals and it's very accurate. But when I tried to demonstrate the same issue with it, it was happening. So the issue is not related to transmitter, and I believe it is related to the stabilization system or the gyro system on this plane. Okay, so Albert Kim, one of the YouTubers who has also reviewed this model in detail, in one of his videos he showed actually a tip stall happening while he was flying quite fast. And I thought to myself, this should not be happening unless the rudder or something is like deflecting like mad. And he was under the same impression. He was saying the rudder goes sometimes crazy. And when does that happen? I wanted to investigate that. So what I'm going to do is now bind the plane to the original one and then demonstrate the issue. And then I'm going to demonstrate it again with the TX16S. So to bind it, what you have to do is just connect the battery without turning on the transmitter first. And there should be a beep. I don't know if you heard it, but I heard it. So once that beep comes on, it's in the binding mode. I'm going to turn on the transmitter. It should be all the way on the bottom, the throttle. And I heard the servos moving. So it's bound now. Do you see? And right now, it is not in stabilization mode because I have not used the throttle. In order to activate the stabilization on this airplane, you have to move the throttle and engage the motor. And then the stabilization becomes activated. And the way you can tell is, when this is not blinking, it means that it is in the 6G or stabilization mode. 6G means 6 gyros, but anyway. And in that mode, when you are moving the ailerons, they are coupled to the rudder. And the rudder should be moving as well. As you see, the rudder is not moving. Hence, the stabilization has not been activated yet. I can move rudder separately. And as you see, there is some dead zone. I'm moving, the rudder is not moving. And I thought maybe that's the issue. So you have to be moving quite a bit away from the center point before the rudder starts moving. And it moves very quickly, as you can see. And same for the elevator. You see there's like a dead zone, and then for the ailerons, look. I am moving in the middle. Nothing is happening. Only here, this much of this deflection, which is about like 25%, are the ailerons engaged. So the sensors on this, or the gimbals or the potentiometers inside, are not very accurate. So this is toy grade. So I was thinking maybe that's the cause. Let me demonstrate the issue. So when I move this quickly in the center like that, nothing much is happening. It's moving a little bit. Now I'm going to activate the stabilization by giving a little bit of throttle. Let me hold this. Now the stabilization is activated. Let me show you why. Do you see? I'm just moving the ailerons and the rudder is moving as well. So this is the 6G mode. And now I'm going to demonstrate to you something that's going to I think is the cause of those tip stalls, because the rudder is deflecting very suddenly to its right or left maximum. And if I'm moving just the rudder smoothly, it just moves to the maximum, comes back, right? But if I do this, like a couple quick moves at the center, do you see? It's deflecting all the way now. I'm not moving all the way to out. I'm staying within the plus minus 50%, and it's just, so it's back to the normal. But if I wiggle it a couple times quickly, do you see it's just jumping from one extreme to the other one without coming to the center. And this happens in the stabilization mode. I'm going to take it out and put it in the 3D mode. But once the stabilization is activated, there is still some stabilization on this, controlling the plane. You can hear it probably. Some form of stabilization. It's similar to AS3X, I think, which you would have on the Horizon Hobby products. It is against the sudden gust winds. Unless you give some control input, it's not going to change its direction or attitude. So even here, if I move it this slowly, it is fine. But if I do a couple large inputs and then suddenly it goes into this crazy mode where it just jumps from one extreme to the other. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this off and show the same issue using my Radiomaster TX16S. I thought maybe it was caused by the toy grade transmitter. No, it's not. Alright, let me turn it on. I already set this up. I already set up this model on my TX16S. So it's already loaded, XK A160-J3. So what I have to do though is rebind it, because this was bound to the other toy transmitter that came with it. So I have to go to the bind and then connect the battery quickly. And once I hear the beeping, when there's a beep, I'm going to engage bind. Here's that beep. And long beep means that now it's bound. Again, as you see, the rudder is not moving when I move ailerons. Let me come out of this main screen. And the movements are much more proportional. At the center, there is no dead space like on the other one, because this is a really high quality transmitter with very nice Hall effect gimbals. And when I make like these small movements, it is fine. It's not doing anything strange. And this is in the right now, 3D mode. I put that switch and I'm going to switch it to 6G. And I'm going to engage the motor now. As you see now, the stabilization has been engaged. And you can tell by the coupling of aileron with the rudder. Now I'm just going to play with the rudder. I'm doing gentle small movements, that's fine. Nothing unusual here. But let me show you how I'm going to get it into that crazy mode. A couple of these, and suddenly, I make like really small movements. It's either all the way left, all the way right. You see that? I'm at the center. I'm not moving the rudder much. The control stick much, but the rudder is moving, jumping all the way to the other side. Now it's back. So once you slow it down and go all the way, it is fine. So this is full deflection. And let me get into that crazy mode again. Now I'm at the center. Any small movement off center, it's a binary. It's either at this, on one extreme or at the other extreme, not in the middle. So I believe this is the issue. So during the flight, somehow if you wiggle this a little too quickly, it gets into that crazy mode, and then it gives a very big deflection, which causes some unbalance. You know, there's the nose coming down one way or the other, and that creates that spinning tendency and goes into a spin and crashes. Or tip stall, they call it. But I'm not sure if it is, one side stalling, the other not, and then putting into a spin. And another thing I would like to mention is, let me take the battery off because we don't need this, but do you see this area? It is very tight. So before, when I was playing it, actually I'm going to connect the battery. So the way they put these controls over here is not very good. So this was very tight. I made this hole larger by cutting into it. So this is the rudder control. Do you see? This is the area that I cut out from the foam in order to make some more space, because before it was not moving all the way. It was getting stuck because this bend, that Z bend, that control wire was getting stuck here. So now it can move because I kind of cut the foam over here. And the same is true for the elevator. Do you see? I haven't cut the foam here yet. So see how it's going to stop the movement from going this way, basically up. So it is straining right now the servo. It can go the other way, no problem. But when you are pulling up, it's getting stuck. So I have to clean that out as well. And I recommend when you receive these, check the throws and see if the tip of if this wire is rubbing against that part of the foam. And if it does, make this slit longer towards back. And what I'm planning to do next is just finding a way to completely decouple the stabilization system. I don't know if it is possible. I'm going to look into that. And if I find a way, I would like to make this airplane full manual. So I don't want stabilization. I just want it completely off and fly it that way, because it is not working well. And a couple times when I put the stabilization on, I guess the gyro was not well calibrated. It's like every time I let go of the elevator, it was either diving or going up instead of flying straight. So I don't like the stabilization of the XK airplanes. I crashed my glider, small glider, A100, that's another XK, because of that. Because every time I let go of the elevator and center it, the nose was coming down, it was going down. So there was definitely some calibration issues. So I would much rather prefer flying these airplanes in the full manual mode. So I'm going to look into disabling that and see if there is a way of doing that. Maybe a jumper, maybe it's like a separate module that I can just pull out of the airplane. I haven't looked inside yet, but if I do, I will make another video. Anyway, I hope this video will help you to make your decision if you haven't purchased one of these. If you did, you just make sure that you are not modulating the rudder control too quickly right and left and get into that crazy mode. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe and healthy. Hope to see you on the next video. Bye bye.